let's rinse this bad boy. Can I just leave it in? It's such a sin to dump absinthe. Ooh, oh my God, it looks like it's bleeding. Well, hello there and welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Ciara. My name is Ciara and I'm a whiskey-loving Irish gal who's on a cocktail voyage of discovery. If you are new here, I have zero professional bar experience other than a passion for making mixed drinks at home and showing you how I do it. So hit that subscribe button, stick around, and we both just might learn something, because if I can do it, you can do it. So in today's video, I'm going to be making another classic hangover cure cocktail, and it's also somewhat of a follow-up of one that I made a couple of weeks ago. Today, I'm going to be making the Corpse Reviver No2. So yes, the Corpse Reviver No2 cocktail is somewhat of a prerequisite for the Necromancer, which is an absinthe-based cocktail that I made a couple of weeks ago. So I couldn't really touch on the Necromancer without going back and making the Corpse Reviver. So I'm very, very excited to make this because I have heard that it is incredible, but I have never made it or tried it before myself. So before we get into the ingredients for Corpse Reviver No2 and I show you how I make it at home for the first time, I would like to take a second to tell you about my Patreon. Not only is it a great way of supporting my channel, but you can also have access to exclusive content, you can avail of exclusive discounts on my newly launched merch, and you can also see the footage that is just too tipsy for YouTube. So without rambling on too much, let's get into the history of a Corpse Reviver No2. So the Corpse Reviver No2 belongs to a family of pre-prohibition cocktails, and they are intended for, as the title of the cocktail suggests, to rouse someone from a hangover, essentially to rouse them from the dead, to bring them back to life, and to basically just scare away a hangover. So it is a really, really well-known hangover drink. Interestingly, the Corpse Reviver cocktail can be traced all the way back to the 1870s, but the original recipe was kind of lost to the ravages of time. There is a different way of making this drink. As you can imagine, there is a Corpse Reviver No1 and a Corpse Reviver No2, and I suppose both of those recipes were kind of lost, but in the noughties, with the resurgence of craft cocktails and bartenders looking to history for inspiration, the Corpse Reviver recipe was brought back and it became popular again, but particularly the No2 iteration is the one that seems to be the most popular with people. So while technically the Corpse Reviver No1 is still in rotation, you can still find it in certain cocktail bars, the Corpse Reviver No2 is definitely the more popular, especially for the hangover cure. So that is the recipe that we're going to be looking at today. So now that we've looked at the history of the Corpse Reviver cocktail, let's go ahead and look at the ingredients for the No2 version. So to make a Corpse Reviver cocktail, we are going to be starting with a bit of absinthe to rinse the glass. You can also include a little bit in the shaker if you like, but I think I will do a bit of a rinse. I'm using the Lafite Absinthe Superior. I love this one. It is a French brand. They're absolutely gorgeous. Again, if you want to know a little bit more about absinthe and its super interesting history, it has such a good history. I will link my dedicated absinthe video in the description below. So we are also going to be using some London dry gin for this cocktail. I have some of the Blackwater small batch Irish gin, which I actually have a little bit left, so I think I might just polish this off for today's cocktail. Now, the next ingredient needed for the Corpse Reviver No2 is a little bit complicated. The traditional recipe calls for an ingredient called quina lillet. Now, it's kind of complicated because this ingredient doesn't actually exist anymore. It actually was one of the ingredients in the Vesper Martini, which I made previously. I will link that below if you want to check it out. But you can substitute quina lillet for some other ingredients. So there are different types of vermouth that you can use. I actually have some Regal Rogue Lively vermouth, which I think I will use today as a substitute, but I will link in the description below some other substitutions as well, because quina lillet isn't available, so we just gotta work around it. And you know what? That's the art of making cocktails. You do a little substitution here, you work with what you have. So along with that, we are also going to be using some orange liqueur. You could use Curacao. There's a few different ones you could go for, but I have some Cointreau here already, so I'm just going to stick with that. And then finally, we are going to be using some freshly squeezed lemon juice. So these are all of our ingredients for our Corpse Reviver No2. It doesn't seem like that complicated of a cocktail, but we are doing a rinse, we're doing some fresh lemon. I think this is hopefully going to come across as quite well balanced. There is kind of a lot of different ingredients going on, but I have heard that the drink is refreshing and a little bit tart. So that's what I'm hoping to achieve today. So now that we've looked at our ingredients for Corpse Reviver number 2, let's go ahead and actually make the cocktail. Now, it is worth noting that despite the slight husk in my voice, I'm actually not hungover today, and I feel like it's a little bit of a shame. I think I need to dedicate a particular episode to making hangover cocktails when I'm actually hungover. It doesn't happen very often, but when I really do the absolute dog in it, I do get hungover. So I'll have to revisit this when I'm absolutely hanging. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have my coupe glass chilling so it gets nice and cold. If I was having a real life hangover, I would certainly want this drink to be as cold and refreshing as possible. So we're going to start by popping one of our gigantic ice cubes into our shaker. In we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start adding all of our ingredients in. We're going to start with 22 mils of our London dry gin. A little bit generous if you want. If I was suffering with a hangover, I would probably be doing generous portions. Then we are going with the same again with our vermouth. So 22 mils again of our vermouth straight in. I actually really like it when cocktails have like the same ratio. It makes it really, really easy to remember, especially if you're really suffering, brain is cloudy, hungover. It's easy to just remember that it's the same, and then an absinthe rinse. So I quite like that. Now we're doing 22 mils of our orange liqueur. In she goes. And then we are going to do 22 mils of our fresh lemon juice. I'm using a cheese knife to cut my lemon. This is really not very professional. I feel like I'm embodying the hangover spirit today. Like, I don't know if that's coming across. So 22 mils of fresh lemon straight in on top. So then we're just going to go ahead and give this a shake to chill it down nicely and get the drink nice and cold. Okay, so I've just dumped my ice and then we are going to do an absinthe rinse. To be honest, I have a personal problem with doing a rinse. I always like to leave it in the glass. I actually also need to get my hands on one of those atomizer spray things. You know, you can just spritz. But for the purposes of sticking to the recipe, I love the smell of absinthe. Let's rinse this bad boy. Woo! Can I just leave it in? It's such a sin to dump absinthe, especially absinthe as good as this. No. I'll put it down the sink. I have to say, I feel like this is kind of a quick drink. It's definitely something I think I could manage in the clutches of a particularly bad hangover. I think I could do it. Ooh, lovely cloudy color. Beautiful. So now we're just going to quickly do our garnish, which is a Luxardo maraschino cherry, my absolute favorite in the world. Let's just skewer a bad boy. Beautiful. Just rest her gently on top. There's a little bit of syrup going into the drink, but that's fine. Ooh, oh my God, it looks like it's bleeding. All right, so our Corpse Reviver number 2 is completed. I have to say, the cloudy, milky color of the drink is contrasting really, really beautifully with the blood red of the maraschino cherry, and it's actually bleeding ever so slightly into the drink. It looks quite morbid. Which I love. So I'm really, really excited to try this for the first time, see if I actually like it, see if it's as well balanced as it claims to be. So if you will join me over on my cocktail drinking chair, let's try a Corpse Reviver number 2 and see how she tastes. Okay, so we are back in the cocktail drinking chair. My Corpse Reviver is here, looking very pretty and feeling very cold. It's a really nicely chilled cocktail. I'm very excited to try this and let you know what I think. So, cheers. Oh, wow. Okay, that's really good. Oh, it's very easy to drink. Immediately, you get that tart sweetness. The lemon is very, very prominent, but it's not super bitter or acidic or overly sweet. It is definitely well balanced. I feel like type of orange liqueur and the type of vermouth that you use is going to make a big difference to this drink. I would imagine if I switched those two out for different ingredients or different types of ingredients, I would get a different result. But as it stands, I really, really like the taste of this just as it is. It's gorgeous. I mean, how would it make me feel on a hangover? I'm not sure. It would definitely perk me up. You know, when you're feeling a bit fuzzy and let's say it's the day after a wedding, you know, you don't know where your keys are, you know, you're missing a shoe. You just need something to just take the edge off. It sounds worse than it is, but you know, like the day after a wedding, you're all together, you're up getting breakfast. Maybe it's like 12 o'clock, it's a late breakfast and you need something to pick you up. I think this will be a great shout. It's really, really nice and surprisingly easy to make as well. You know, it's a similar ratio. It's easy to remember. You can make it through a cloud of a hangover, and the taste is great. And again, the absinthe rinse, you could probably leave it in, you know? I'm getting a little bit of like the aniseedy, absinthe smell that I love so much, but it's really masked. So if it was me, I would probably just add a dash into the shaker, or I would leave my dash in the glass and then just strain it in on top of it. I actually think including it in the shaker would be the best way to do it. But yeah, I really, really like this. I definitely will be making this again. So it is at this stage in the video that I get to sit back, enjoy my cocktail, and answer some questions from my Patreon community. So I have a question here from the lovely Jordan Towns, and Jordan asks, will you ever vlog taking a trip to the Guinness brewery? Guinness is my favorite beer and would love to get there myself one day. Well, Jordan, I've gone many times. The Guinness brewery, or the Guinness storehouse as it's called, is I think Ireland's #1 tourist attraction. And to be fair, it is for a reason. It is a fantastic spot. They really have geared it towards tourists. Like, there's so much information. It's like done in a way that's like quite modern and kind of high tech. It's just fabulous. It's really, really good. I actually went to an amazing event there on St. Patrick's Day, and it was wild. There was many a pint of Guinness drank, and it was great. But yeah, I definitely will vlog a trip to it. I actually have a second channel, if you're not already aware. It is my vlog channel. I will link it below. I'll link it on screen if I can as well. And I tend to vlog my excursions on that channel. So if you want to see more of my adventures out and about, I recently took a trip to a cabin in the woods with my friend Eamon. You can watch all that on the vlog channel. But definitely, I will be going to the Guinness storehouse again, and I will bring you along with me, and it will be in a vlog. So considering that I enjoyed my Corpse Reviver #2 so much, I would love to know, how do you make yours? If you are a fan of this cocktail, what ingredients do you use? What do you substitute the quina Lillet for? Because obviously we all have to make a substitution. What's your go-to? Because I feel like the drink can really be tweaked in terms of sweetness and bitterness depending on those ingredients. So I would love to know in the comments, what do you recommend? And as always, if there are any other cocktails you would like to see me make, then please do leave me a comment below letting me know, because I love working on your recommendations. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more easy cocktails that you can make at home, I will leave a link to a playlist up here. And if you have not already, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every single week, and I would love to have you back for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!